If you're testing a new product with ads, you've probably opened up Ads Manager and thought, how do I make sense of all this data? Which metrics actually matter? And how do I know if my ad is working or just wasting money? After years of running ads and generating multiple millions in sales, we've boiled it down to 3 key metrics. These 3 metrics are absolutely essential, not just for deciding whether to cut, keep, or scale an ad, but also for diagnosing what's really going on with your ads. That's exactly why we're breaking it all down in today's episode. My name is Adrian Bonarks, here with my co-host Carlos Colon. Welcome to the Print on Demand podcast, a show dedicated to helping you make money online with Shopify and print on demand. What's up? Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. As always, in this episode, we're going to be sharing the 3 key metrics that changed how we run our ads and really transformed our business. But before we jump in, we always got to ask, just a small request. If you're loving the show and appreciate the podcast episodes that we're dropping here every Friday, can you please help us out by taking a minute to rate and review the show, whether that be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can write us a comment or wherever you're listening from. We are on a mission to build the most positive and supportive community of print-on-demand sellers on the internet. And your reviews help us reach more ambitious entrepreneurs like you and grow this incredible movement, this incredible community. So thank you so much in advance. We really appreciate your support and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. All right, let's just get right into it. I'm excited because I get to kind of kick back and we're gonna have Carlos leading this episode. He is our Facebook ads expert, really great when it comes to paid marketing. And so he's going to be sharing some gold all around running paid ads. So I'm going to hand over to Carlos. I'm going to kick back and I'll just be kind of the color commentary in the background here. So Carlos, over to you.
All right. I'm going to get into the juice pretty quick here, but I just want a quick full disclaimer. Just for all those running ads, our way is not the only way to run ads. And there's many others out there that run ads differently and still see success. We're not saying this is the only way, but we can say with certainty that this works for us and many others right now. Ultimately, though, the most important thing with running ads is that you have a winning design with mass appeal. After all, if you run ads to a product nobody wants, nobody will buy. It's that simple.
Boom.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to break down exactly what I'm going to get into. I'm really excited about this one because this is jumping into the numbers, into 3 key numbers that changed everything for us. So number 1, I'm going to talk about the 3 key metrics we use to run ads. And then number 2, the metrics that we use to decide when to cut, keep, or scale an ad. And then number 3, the 2 key metrics we use to diagnose our ads. And then finally, just a word of advice. So let's jump in.
Let's go.
If you're running an ad to test a new product, you may be looking at the Meta Ads Manager and thinking, how the heck do I decipher all this data? What do each of these metrics mean, and which ones do I actually need to pay attention to when running ads for print on demand? And spoiler alert, you don't need to look at all of them. You don't need to look at all of them. Like, limit it. Limit your overwhelm. Over the many years of running ads, and after multiple millions in sales, we found that there's 3 key metrics that have been absolutely essential for us for both decision-making and diagnosing our ads. And these 3 metrics are...
Drum roll, please.
ROAS. So ROAS is return on ad spend, unique link CTR or unique link click-through rate, and CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. And don't worry, I'll be getting into how to use all of these in a lot of detail very shortly. But first, I want to distinguish between 2 different kinds of metrics that we use. We use 1, decision-making metrics, and 2, signaling metrics. Decision-making metrics are super simple. They're literally pass or fail, whereas signaling metrics are more gray, and they're more meant as a starting point for diagnosing an ad to see what's working and what's not working for it. So let me jump into the metric that we use to decide when to cut, keep, or scale an ad, because this is the decision-making metric.
Okay, Kittl just dropped a major update, which is going to change the game for print on demand. They've officially switched to Google's Nano Banana as the default in Kittl Flows, and this is a big deal because it's 10 times faster, cheaper to use, and keeps your logos, graphics, and text exactly as you designed them. If you use AI for design creation, mockups, or edits, you know the pain. Your designs get changed or distorted, simple edits can take forever, and character mockups look different every time. Nano Banana fixes that, allowing you to create realistic mockups with consistent characters, edit images with a simple prompt, and make consistent design variations. To use it, just open any artboard in Kittl, add a smartboard, enter your prompt or upload your image, and hit generate. Guys, it's never been faster, cheaper, or simpler to create incredible AI designs and mockups in Kittl. And for a limited time, Nano Banana will be unlimited for all Kittl Pro and Expert users. So if you're a Kittl user like me on the Pro plan, go and take full advantage of this promotion. And if you're not yet using Kittl, you can try it for free by clicking the link in the show notes or get 25% off a paid plan with code ADRIANPOD.
This is the one that determines whether an ad is pass or fail. And this is ROAS, or return on ad spend, because it tells us very quickly whether an ad is profitable or not. So whether an ad passes or fails. And our pass or fail is whether an ad is profitable or not. So let me walk you through it a little bit here. First, you might be wondering, what is ROAS and how do I use it? Let's start with what it is, okay? ROAS, or return on ad spend, is how many dollars in sales you earn for every dollar you spend on ads. So if you spend, say, $15 on an ad and you make $30 in sales, so maybe you sell one shirt for $30, then your return on ad spend, or ROAS, is 2x, or 2 times, because you made $2 for every dollar that you spent on the ad. Okay, so you might be thinking, how does this tell me profitability? Let me explain. So let's say you sell a shirt for $30 and your POD provider charges you $15 to fulfill it. That's a 50% profit margin. So 50% of that money that you get, that $30, is profit, because the other $15, so $15 goes to your print on demand provider to pay for fulfilling the shirt, and then $15 goes in your pocket, and that's your profit. So you've got a 50% profit margin, because half of it is profit margin. So if you spent $15 on ads to sell that $30 shirt, you break even, right? $30 in revenue minus $15 cost of shirt minus the $15 that you spent on the ad leaves zero profit, which is what we call break even. Is that bad? No, that's not bad. You gained a new customer who now knows, likes, and trusts you, ideally, and you can market to them later through email or retargeting at a much lower cost. That aside, if half the price of your shirt always pays for your print on demand provider to fulfill the shirt, then you know that you need to make a 2 times return on ad spend to break even on ads for shirts. So in other words, 2 times return on ad spend, 2 times ROAS equals break even. So if you go higher than 2 times ROAS, if this is the case, if you're selling the shirt for $30 and it costs you $15, if you go higher than the 2 times ROAS, then it's profitable. Then your ad's profitable. If you go lower than the 2 times ROAS, then your ad's unprofitable. It's not profitable. You're losing money. The trick with using return on ad spend, or ROAS, is to find your break-even ROAS and then use that as your guide to know when to cut, keep, or scale an ad after, say, like a 72-hour test. And the hack to finding your break-even ROAS quickly is to divide 1 by your profit margin. So if your profit margin is 50%, then 1 divided by 50% equals 2. So 2x, or 2 times ROAS. And that would be your break-even ROAS. And so now, once you know your break-even ROAS, then you can compare that to what you got in your ad. Like, did your ad get a 3 times ROAS? If it did get 3 times ROAS and your break-even ROAS is 2 times, then you're profitable. If your ad got 2 times ROAS, then you're break-even. If it got less than 2 times, then you're unprofitable. And so that means if it's higher, obviously, then you're going to scale the ad up. If you're profitable, you're going to scale the ad up. If you're break-even, you're just going to keep the ad as is. And if you're unprofitable, then you're going to cut the ad. So, and remember that break-even is totally fine. We'd happily keep an ad running at break-even any day, every day. Why? Because we're building up our email list, followers, and awareness without losing any money. Profitability is obviously better though, because it gives us budget to scale faster and further. Adrian, your thoughts?
I was just going to say, I really liked how you kind of broke it down to the three kind of decisions: scale, keep, or cut. If it's profitable, you scale it. If it's break even, you keep it. If it's unprofitable, you cut it, period.
Yes.
That's the system that we put in place to protect our businesses, and that we hope others, put these kind of guardrails in place to protect them and keep them disciplined from overspending when you're not profitable or even break even.
Yeah, exactly. Now I want to talk about two other key metrics that we use to diagnose our ads. And like I said, the ROAS is the decision-making metrics. That's the most important. Two other key metrics though, and these are the signaling metrics, are CTR and CPM. And by CTR, I mean unique link click-through rate. So unique link CTR and then CPM. And remember that we use these mainly for diagnosing different aspects of an ad. So mainly the interest in the ad and the quality of the ad. So what kind of interest is being shown in the ad and what's the quality of the ad? These are not key decision-making metrics for us. AKA, these could look great, but if the ad's unprofitable, at the end of the day, we still turn it off. A loser ad is a loser ad. With that said, let's start with the most important signaling metric, and that's the unique link click-through rate. So simply put, the unique link click-through rate tells us whether people are clicking on the ad. More specifically, it shows us the percentage of people who saw the ad and clicked on the link, i.e., usually that's your product page that you're sending them to with the link. For example, if your unique click-through rate is 3%, that means that 3 out of every 100 people who saw your ad clicked through to your product page. That's pretty strong too. 3% is great. We love 3%. Assuming your offer is clear and not misleading in any way, then the unique link click-through rate is a great indicator of interest in the product that you're advertising. So this is like, what level of interest does my ad have? Look at your unique link click-through rate. Are people actually interested in buying that product? If everything's clear, that it's something for sale and that this is what it is and everybody can see it clearly, and you have a high click-through rate, then people are interested in your product. So why unique link click-through rate? You might be asking, why unique link click-through rate and not just CTR, not just click-through rate? Because regular click-through rate in Meta includes all clicks. So like the click to expand the ad text, the click to open the image or video to full screen, the click through to your profile, clicks to add a like, comment, or share, or even multiple clicks from the same person. So to get a clear indication for how many people are actually interested in the product, we want to screen out all the multiple clicks from the same person or any clicks that do not signal strong buyer intent. And the one that signals strong buyer intent is the click to your product page. Ultimately, we want to know if people are actually interested enough to go to the product page and hopefully buy. That's why we track unique link click-through rate and not just the general click-through rate in Meta. So you might be thinking, what's the range? What's a good range? A good range is about 1% to 3% for unique click-through rate. If it's low, that might mean that your creative, your ad creative, your imagery isn't engaging enough to stop the scroll, or there's just not enough interest in what you're selling, the product that you're selling. Maybe people just aren't excited about the design. That's okay. That said, if the ad's profitable or break even with a low click-through rate, we'd still keep it running. But we would probably create a new ad with a different ad creative, different imagery, maybe a different mock-up to test to hopefully squeeze out more clicks and ideally higher profitability for this product. Adrian, I want your thoughts on this.
Man, that was really thorough and that was really good. I don't have a lot to add. I like how you're explaining what each of these metrics actually means as you go, because I think a lot of people, especially if they haven't run ads before, but they're interested in running ads, it's going to sound like a different language to them. And
Totally,
we
man.
know that
Totally.
a lot of our listeners are newer. And so, yeah, I'm happy that you're explaining how this, what each of these metrics means. And I also really just wanted to double down on something you said. You said you don't have to worry about all the data. So in Facebook Ads Manager, you're going to be given so many different data points that you can analyze. And honestly, it's totally very overwhelming. And I think a lot of new people, when they're running ads for the first time or they're learning ads, they get super overwhelmed because there's so much data to look at and they don't know what they should be focusing in on. And so by focusing in on a couple key metrics, you can put on your blinders for a lot of that other data, because at the end of the day, if these key metrics don't look good, then it doesn't matter really about those other key metrics. Like, for example, maybe you have a really, really low cost per click, right? It doesn't cost you much to drive clicks to your product, but you spent $500 and not a single person has bought. Who cares if you have a low click-through rate?
Totally.
Nobody is cost per click. I mean, if you have a low cost per click, nobody's buying. So that doesn't matter. Like these are actually metrics that matter. And we would rather you focus on just a few very powerful metrics that help you make good database decisions, as opposed to overwhelming yourself with all the metrics that are there on the table. You don't need to do it, and we don't recommend it. And you're just going to enjoy it a lot more reading the metrics when you are just focused on a couple.
Yeah. Too many people burn too much time trying to analyze the data when really, like, when it comes down to it, they don't have to look at all that data. You could be spinning your wheels, or you can make quick decisions and get your ad to higher profitability, or just cut an ad that is unprofitable altogether, right?
Totally.
But yeah, now, like I said, there's two signaling metrics. The second signaling metric is CPM, or cost per thousand impressions. And this metric tells us how expensive it is to get eyeballs on our ads. So remember that an ad impression means that every time the ad pops up on someone's feed, stories, or reels, that's an impression. So why does this matter? The higher the CPM, the fewer people you reach per dollar spent on an ad. So for example, ad number 1 has a CPM of $5. So that means that if you spent $10 on the ad, then you're going to get 2,000 impressions, 2,000 ad impressions. So it's going to pop up on people's feeds, stories, reels, 2,000 times. Now, ad number 2, say, has a CPM of $10 per 1,000 impressions. So if you spend $10 for ad number 2, you're going to get 1,000 impressions. So ad number 1 literally gets double the chances at bat for the same budget. So which one do you want? Trick question, Adrian.
Ad number 2. This is kidding. I'm just kidding. Definitely ad number 1.
Yeah. You want ad number 1. You want the ad that's going to get in front of a lot more people for the same amount of dollars spent. We mainly use CPM to spot quality issues, though, with an ad. So we use it as a metric to spot quality issues, because we know that if the ad quality is low, then Meta actually penalizes us by increasing the CPM on the ad. So in other words, if the ad quality is low, so if you got like pixelated images or like something like super misleading in your ad, or it just looks low quality, or it's getting the low quality signals from Meta, then they're going to penalize you by increasing the costs per 1,000 impressions, which means that the ad is going to be more expensive for you, which also means less profitable for you, right? And so high CPMs is a problem, because higher costs means two things, lower reach per dollar spent, and hence lower profitability for the ad. There's less chances at bat for the same amount of dollars spent. Some examples of quality issues that could negatively affect your CPMs, I already alluded to this earlier, but spammy or misleading content in the ad, low quality imagery or text in the ad, like say poor grammar mistakes and something that looks like just very spammy in terms of text, poor post-click user experience, anything that would make people leave your website quickly after clicking through. And yes, Meta does track that too. So one other thing to keep in mind, though, is that a higher CPM doesn't always mean that the ad is low quality. We don't focus on this too much, but a higher CPM can also be due to higher competition. So a great example of this is the time period leading up to Black Friday and Christmas. This is the most expensive time of the year to run ads, because it's when most other sellers are running ads. So Meta's CPMs go up. So this is, even if your ad is high quality, your CPMs will still go up, because there's a lot more competition for the same feed, to put an ad in the same feed and in the same reel. But this is something that's out of our control. So we don't actually worry about this too much. We're far more concerned with the quality of the ad because that's in our control. So just as a rule of thumb, just so you can kind of differentiate them, CPMs between $10 to $15 are normal most of the year. If you start seeing your CPMs go up, if they go up to say $30 to $40 per 1,000 impressions outside of say Black Friday or the Christmas rush, then that's a big red flag that you may have a quality issue. That said though, like we said before, this is a signaling metric. Just remember that. If my ad had high CPMs, so it's very expensive, but still profitable or break even, I'd keep them running. But we might look at the ad to make sure that there's no glaring quality issues with it. Adrian, what are your thoughts?
That was so good. I was actually taking notes because there is some things I wanted to share. I thought this was good stuff.
Awesome.
A couple things that I wanted to mention is sometimes you will actually notice a high CPM, but your ad is still profitable. And you're probably scratching your head being like, well, what the heck do I do? Like, clearly, like the signal is that, this isn't resonating, but the ad is profitable. The answer is simple. If the ad is profitable, keep running the ad.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be testing other variations of that ad. Who knows why it has a high CPM? Maybe it's the image, maybe it's the headline, maybe it's the call to action. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of look at to determine. But what I would do, like what we would do is if it was profitable, we would keep that ad going.
Yes.
And then we would test that design in other ways. So we might test it on a different flat lay lifestyle mockup, or we might test it on product only or a lifestyle model wearing it, something like that, and see if that improves the CPM. But at the end of the day, profitability is king. That's what we're saying with ads, right? The goal of ads is to build a profitable business in most cases. And that's the way that we use them. That's the way that we look at them. So I just wanted to, I'm guessing that if anyone has run ads and experienced this, because we've definitely experienced that, where we have high CPMs, but they're so profitable, we're going to keep running them. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah. Secondly, Carlos made a really good point. Like, the CPM can fluctuate based on seasonality. And so when the most people are running ads on a platform like Meta, Facebook and Instagram ads, they're going to be more expensive. However, the opposite is also true. So what we see is every November, December, we see ad costs totally spike. Like they get really high, CPMs go up. Yep. We're obviously that's not great because we're paying money and getting in front of less people. However, we see the pendulum totally swing in the opposite direction come January. And this has been consistent every single year we've been in business. Ad costs always drop. And I'm talking like significant drops in January. Yeah. So I want everyone to think of this as an opportunity. If you have a brand now, or if you're in the process of building your brand, January is always a good month for us. It's consistently one of our best months of the year because our ads are going further. And many times that will result in more sales because you're getting more eyeballs on your products. Last thing I wanted to mention that I like that Carlos said, he said, don't worry about things that aren't in your control. This is so true. Like as entrepreneurs, as business owners, there's so many things we can be worrying about, but I really like to take kind of the stoic approach when running a business. Instead of worrying about things that are out of your control, put all your time and energy into what's within your control. What can you actually, what do you actually have control of that can move the needle for your business? That would be a much better use of your time. So that's kind of all I wanted to say about that. But that was a great summary.
Yeah. No, I love how you mentioned that. Like, totally. With ads, focus on the things that are within your control. And that's why we like to limit the metrics that we look at. Totally. We like to limit the metrics we look at because there's only certain metrics that we really care about anyways. There's a lot of other metrics too. There's millions of other ones, I'm sure. But these are the three. These are the three key ones. And I love how you mentioned that we don't change the ad if it's profitable. Yes, we
Right.
don't change the ad if it's profitable. If it's profitable, profit's profit.
Right.
We roll with it. We keep running with it, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to change that ad if it's profitable already. Like what we do is, and for signaling metrics in particular, right? What we do if there's something in a signaling metrics like the CTR or the CPM and we think we can improve it, we just open a new ad and we test it there. Test it at a small budget. If it does well, we scale that up too. No biggie,
Totally.
right? But we don't change the ad that's profitable. We don't change it. So yeah. All right. So now that said, a little piece of final advice, and you can take it or not take it. Just some words of wisdom that we were given that I just want to pass along. And this is more of a reminder on how to think, the mindset behind how to think about testing with paid ads. Make sure to always treat tests as paying for data. That's it. You're not losing money if you run a test and make no sales. The whole point of the test was to get the data. Data to tell you whether people are interested in your product or not. Remember that you're also paying for the convenience of getting that data very quickly. Because the faster you get this data, the faster you can improve and find your winning designs. So if you run an ad that does not make a single sale, then you still got what you paid for. You paid for the data and you got it, whether good or bad.
Oh, so good. Such a good kind of note to end off on. It's so true. Like, like we always say, like you run ads, paid ads are like one of, if not the quickest form of validation on your designs. And time is money. Like we want you to be either moving on quickly from designs that nobody wants or scaling up quickly the designs that people do want. And so this is the power of paid ads, right? Getting eyeballs on your product to give you validation, good or bad. There's value in both. That was so good, Carlos. That was a masterclass on analyzing the data. And, I really like that it was just focused on 3 metrics because we know that more information equals more overwhelm.
Totally.
And we don't want people getting overwhelmed and we don't want you obsessing about the metrics. Like focus on the metrics that actually move the needle, right? So, there was so much gold in that episode, Carlos. Thank you. You're so good at talking about ads. Like clearly you're passionate about it. And I always like hearing you talk about it. I also want to mention, if you did enjoy this episode and you want more in-depth training on the strategy that we've used to generate multiple millions in sales across 2 apparel brands, I do recommend checking out our free 60-minute on-demand training called How to Make Your First $10,000 with Shopify and Print on Demand, which we're going to link below in the show notes. We always like to mention this because we do go in a bit more detail on our paid ad strategies. We talk about a lot of strategy in there, so we can't go, we would be there for a lot longer if we were going into every detail. But if you do like the paid ads and the marketing stuff, then you probably will enjoy that free training. And if you are ready to take action and you want to start or grow your brand and you want direct coaching from Carlos and I, we always like to mention that there is an opportunity at the end of that class to join our training and coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy. So if you want that personalized coaching all around your brand to kind of expedite the growth process, if you want that supportive community of others on the same path, and if you want that step-by-step guidance, that training on our proven repeatable growth system, heavily focused on marketing, then you can learn more about the program there and you can determine if it's a good fit for you. Of course, if you have any questions about it, you can always DM us on social media or send us an email. We're happy to help, but we want you to determine if it's a good fit. We say everything that it includes, everything out there. It's for some people, it's not for other people, and that's totally fine. We know it's not for everyone. We're not trying to make it for everyone. We're trying to help people who want to make money online with Shopify and Print on Demand. If that's your goal, then this might be a good fit, right? So you can register for that training by clicking the link below in the show notes or by going to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow. So start before you're ready, take imperfect action, and always know that you're one design away.
If you're loving the Print on Demand podcast and want more, please help us out by rating this on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening from. It only takes a minute, and this is one of the best ways to support the show and let us know that you're enjoying these weekly episodes. Thank you in advance, and we'll talk soon.